so much, everyone. We'll bring you the latest developments from the Halo chambers of the Green Chambers in the Nigeria House of Representatives, where a heated bickering between the House Speaker, Gbajabiamila, and his deputy, Wase, caused quite a stir. In a dramatic turn of events, the House of Representatives witnessed a heated exchange between Mr. Gbajabiamila and Mr. Wase in today's plenary session. The disagreement, which unfolded before the eyes of the nation, raised eyebrows and sparked some concerns about the unity and effectiveness of our legislative body. Tensions reached a boiling point as both the Speaker and his deputy engaged in a heated verbal exchange over a contentious issue, capturing the attention of lawmakers and observers alike. The disagreement between the Speaker and his deputy underscores the need for effective communication. Well, this is going to be about, or was about, tomorrow's plenary, and the Speaker was informing the House about the need to attend to the National Institute for Legislative Studies event tomorrow, and he says plenary will be adjourned at 2 p.m., which the Deputy Speaker disagreed about. But let me allow you to listen to some of the exchanges between both men.
I want to make sure that we should do our functions. Those who have the interest to go to ministerial, they have the right to go there. But our main primary function in this parliament is to make law, and our citizens should be more priority to us. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Perhaps, yes, you don't appreciate the importance of bills like some of us do. I didn't
mention things, Mr. Speaker, that was part of those that wanted to
it was set up.
So I have every information and idea of what it's.
It was set up, if I may, it was set up by the legislative institutions by statute. We're not adjourning the House to go to meals. What I said was, let's try and make it light and leave here by 2. If you want, we can resume at 10. We will do our work, but we will adjourn this House at 2 o'clock. I will witness meals because it is important to me.
The parliament is about us, not about I. Thank you very much.
You heard it. Let's get some perspectives on this one. I mean, I'd like to bring in some perspective also to these because the Deputy Speaker, Wase, is running for the next Speaker of the 10th National Assembly, and it doesn't look like his principal, the Speaker, is supporting him. There are those who say the event of today is not even, in fact, isolated. This happened about last week when there was issue about induction going on, and the Speaker wanted to do in like manner, but said, I mean, the Deputy Speaker had also, at that time, raised an objection saying if the Senate was not postponing the plenary because of induction, the House should not. Well, let's get to hear some perspective on this one. Dr. Samson Osage is a former minority whip in the House of Representatives and the chairman of the African Bar Association. He joins us live in Abuja. Thank you so much, Honorable. It's good to see you. I'm very sure you heard what happened, the exchanges between Speaker Gbajabiamila and Deputy Speaker Wase. Have we seen this kind of disagreement between the two presiding officers in the past?
Thank you, Seun, for having me. I think in the tradition of the parliament, disagreements and agreements are very important tools of the legislators. And I do not think that there is much to this than meets the eye. As far as I'm concerned, the proposal by Mr. Speaker to have the House adjourned by 2 o'clock in order to be part of the commissioning of the National Institute of Legislative Studies, the permanent site, was a very thoughtful one because the institute was established by the National Assembly itself. It is an institute that is established to create opportunity for the capacity of legislators and legislative staffers, to be enhanced so that they can contribute to the process of legislation and national development much more effectively. It has also metamorphosed as of 2017 when it became the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies and charged with the responsibility to provide capacity building for all democratic institutions in Nigeria. As between the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, these are the two senior officers, two most senior officers of the Parliament. They had disagreement over when to adjourn the House and when not to adjourn the House on this occasion. I believe it may just be a matter of communication. And as a matter of fact, maybe because of the seasons, because of the politics going on about the leadership quest by various interest groups in the House, they may not have had time to have a pre-meeting before sitting, and that is where the Speaker will usually brief the principal officers of the House as to what proposals are on the table for the plenary and, of course, for the next day. I think it's a breakdown of communication. Otherwise, there is no basis for such disagreement in the open between the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. So I dare say that even though this looks unprecedented, I'm not too sure that I witnessed an open disagreement between Speaker and Deputy Speaker in the 6th and the 7th Assembly. I'm not too sure I witnessed any. But again, disagreements and agreements are very important tools for debates, discussions, and the process of legislation.
So let me bring, because, I mean, you are the one that have been in the Allo chamber as a lawmaker, and you understand that pretty much, you're also a lawyer, so you understand how this thing works, especially in a season where body language is now part of the readings in our politics. So give me an understanding. Usually, traditionally, what we find happen is the Speaker with the Deputy Speaker and all their principal officers, they march into the chamber, and you hear the bearer of the mace say, "Mr. Speaker," and everybody rise, and which gives a signal of the beginning of plenary. But recently, this is the body language that has happened. Mr. Speaker comes in, and you see the Deputy Speaker come from the other end. This is unusual, but some people will say it might not be against the rule. I mean, is that also some anomaly that it's against the usual traditional practice in the chamber?
Well, let me just inform you from the very onset that when the life of a parliament is winding down, the usual tradition and practice, what we witness, is that legislative activities are usually not too coordinated. Not too coordinated for several reasons, because members are making arrangements on how to exit the chambers for those who are not coming. Even for those who are returning, they have to exit and have to be readmitted back into chambers. So you do not find some coordination, towards the end of any parliamentary assembly. So it is not uncommon to find the Speaker come in and later the Deputy Speaker come in at this point in time. We have a few days in the life of the Parliament. Two, if you want to infer or imply that the disagreement may be arising as a result of contest for the office of the speakership, well, it may not be unlikely. Politics is all about interest. And if anyone finds that his interest is not being catered for by certain quarters they expect, it can also inform their reaction. But on this score, I do not think that this is anything too serious for us to worry about. The powers of the Speaker, the functions of the Speaker, of course, the duties and functions of the principal officers are spelled out in the standing orders of the House of Representatives. The Speaker had control over the Parliament, is to preside over all debates, and of course is to properly ensure that there is decorum on the floor of the House. And of course the duty of the Speaker is to perform the function of the Speaker in the absence of the Speaker. So it is rare to find this type of disagreement. But like I said, it is just a matter of communication, and I think it's nothing serious. But it must be emphasized that the commissioning of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies is such an important event in the life of a parliament, particularly parliament, that has brought it to fruition. That project has been going on for the past almost 11 to 12 years. And if it is happening at this point in time, and I think it's something that both the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, and indeed the entire House, had to celebrate, because it is an institute that have come to provide capacity building for all democratic institutions, and it is very important. And it's important because it will impart on the kind of legislations that are going to be coming out, even the 10th Assembly and even going forward. So I think it is a ceremony, really, where the Speaker has suggested that members should endeavor to be part of. A lot of members of that House have graduated from the Institute for postgraduate programs, and it enhances their capacity. So I do not think that there is much to be worried about the disagreement. People can openly disagree. After all, we can't think the same way.
So I mean, it's good. I mean, it's normal and human to disagree, but it's the undercurrent and the implications of the disagreement that is really a bone of contention here. And Honorable Osage, this is not the first time this kind of disagreement in a like manner is happening. It happened about a few days ago, about last week or 2 weeks ago. Similar thing happened when an adjournment is being planned because of induction. But I'm looking at what these implication of these for the Nigerian people. These guys are there to make laws for Nigerians, for governance of Nigerians. Now, the question is, it also affects how the leadership of the next National Assembly will be, politics that have gotten the attention of the entire nation. Give me an understanding, Honorable, what you think could be the major implication, because this race, I'm not sure, has been this intense since 1999.
Well, I'm sure you want me to speak on what I'm not seeing. Maybe probably because Idris Wase is running for speaker and some other members are running for speakership. So the party has zoned the positions to various zones, and some zones are not happy, and that may be the reason. Well, like I said earlier, it is important to note that politics is about interest. And Idris Wase is a very experienced lawmaker. The speaker is a very experienced lawmaker, and they understand how the politics of parliament works. It's about the numbers. At the end of the day, it will be decided by the numbers that any of the contestant gets, on the day of inauguration. So whatever undercurrents there might be, which can be read into why you have this open disagreement, for me is immaterial. And it is also immaterial to the functions of the legislature at this point in time. I mean, which law are they going to start now that they will finish?
Honorable, I'm actually bothered.
If there are.
There Honorable, Honorable, I understand that these undercurrent have their own implication in the general politics of the National Assembly. But what I'm bothered about is the manner in which the ruling party, APC, is going about the politics of the leadership of the 10th National Assembly, and whether or not that has any kind of implication and in the manner in which the affairs of the 10th National Assembly will be conducted that could affect their delivery to the promises to the Nigerian people.
Now, I teach political parties and parliamentary politics at the National Institute of Legislative Studies. Now, you must understand that in a constitutional democracy, where political parties are the organs that put candidates forward for election into both executive and legislature, they must make attempts, to play a role in who holds what position in the parliament. But ultimately, it is the parliamentarians themselves which, according to the Constitution, that must elect their leaders. So the role the party is playing, you heard the national chairman of the party saying yesterday that it is not within their powers to elect or select leaders for them. If they make suggestions, like they have done in terms of zoning, then it is left for members, of the parliament to decide what they want. This is not the first time. And I have not witnessed any parliamentary section in which the ruling party have not made any attempt, to suggest who should be speaker and who should not be speaker. But the ultimate decision of who becomes speaker and deputy speaker of the House or the Senate lies with the majority of members of that parliament. Now, talking about the implications of this, yes, it may be seen as something that can lead to unnecessary animosity, unnecessary disunity among members. But I believe that the 10th National Assembly, that will come on stream as from on the 13th of June, must do things differently, looking at the situation that the country is at the moment. Issues of national interest that borders on major issues of the economy must be the one that should be their focus, and they must leave unnecessary partisanship for the interest of the nation. So this is going away as far as I'm concerned, and the next assembly must take a cue from what should develop the country.
Dr. Osage,
about unity.
Yeah,
and
Dr. Osage, so there are two issues that I'd like you to quickly look at. So when you mention national interest, and I mentioned, I was asking you in respect of the decision of the APC and the manner in which they are going about the politics. So issues of zoning comes up. Issues of the fact that this looks like the executive arm of the APC is trying to put his hand over the activities of the parliament. So there are going to be implications. There are those who are disaffected already about the issue of zoning, especially we are hearing much of this from the north-central region of the country, and the fact that if there is an executive that had suggested a leadership to the National Assembly, I mean, it's bad enough that National Assembly is being described as a rubber stamp. It would then go down to the fact that the National Assembly is at the beck and call of the executive. Where lies the issue of separation of powers? Can you deal with these two issues on the matter of the separation of powers and rubber stamp parliament, and also the issue of zoning, which has come up in these arguments?
Well, on the issue of zoning that the party have done with respect to the leadership of the National Assembly, I think that a lot of rethinking need to go into it, and those who are agitating have a right to do so. It is their right to complain if they are not taking into account in the zoning arrangement they have done. It is their legitimate right. So I will not say that because the party have said it, then they cannot complain. No, they have a right to complain. Again, on the issue of whether the executive is trying to, interfere with the running of the executive, I think that what we are seeing for now is that it is the leadership of the party, of course, that includes the executive and even the leadership of the National Assembly. And I dare say, which at this point again was emphasized yesterday, if you listen to Senator Abdullahi Adamu, the chairman of the APC, he said that they don't have the power, the party does not have the power to elect or select a speaker for the House. Ultimately, the members have to, do their own election. It has happened in the past. So it is for the members to organize themselves in a manner that they think is better for them and will better make them serve their respective constituents and at the same time, the interest of the nation. So it is not uncommon to find political parties that have majority of seats, to want to suggest to each members that this might be their preferred candidate or this zone might be their preferred candidate, their preferred zone. But it is now left for the members to decide who they want to support.
All right.
If they feel the candidate of the party is good enough for them, I think it makes there is nothing wrong with it. But if they don't, they also have the right to vote at the end of the day. So as far as I'm concerned, it is in following the tradition that we have seen in the past that we are not doing. But the lawmakers must be sure of what they are coming to do in the parliament at the end of the day.
It's good to hear your very insightful thoughts there on the National Assembly politics, and we hope that the undercurrent that we're seeing and the body language is just on the surface and it will affect or impact on the governance and policies of this country. Dr. Samson Osage is a former minority whip in the House of Representatives and the chairman of the African Bar Association. Thank you so much indeed, and it's good to see you again.